All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Manifest, and welcome to episode 5 of the Relationship Podcast uh, of Dr. Manifest. Today's topic is everything you need to know about online dating. I mean, realistically, this podcast could be easily a couple of hours, probably, just from discussions and experiences, right? That I've learned from various people that I've actually had the chance to interview or deal with on some level, personally or professionally. Now, to some of you who are from my era, which is the '80s, pretty much. I'm 53. We remember how back in the day, dating and meeting someone was totally different than the way it is now, right? I mean, let's go back a little further than that. When we were kids, we actually had to go outside to socialize, right? We did social things. We went to parties, right? We would go to the park. Skating was real popular back in my days, right? Of course, sports for me, basketball, football, things like that. Of course, we still have those things, but now, for the most part, young people today, this generation, everything is social media, Instagram and TikTok, right? The phone is the majority of where they get their entertainment and socialization from. I think that's helpful and has been somewhat not so much over the years, especially as it relates to meeting someone and dating. They have these dating apps now. We're going to get into that, the dating apps and the dating websites. But long gone are those days when you remember when you actually had to talk to someone to get to know them, right? I mean, you literally talked on the phone. Let's go back a little further. I remember sometimes my brother would be on the phone and I wanted to use it and he wouldn't get off. So I had to go around the corner to the laundromat and make a phone call uh, at the phone booth. And it was a dime. It was really a dime that you could talk on the phone like pretty much all day off that one dime, you know. So yeah, that's I'm definitely dating myself with that, but that's what it was. Remember when we had to actually speak to someone to get to know them? Remember when we actually went on dates? Either you would catch the bus together and go to the movies, or um, and if you were blessed enough to have access to a car, you would pick your date up and y'all would go out, have a good time, whatever the case may be. Well, those days are long gone. And if you're like me and you're kind of nostalgic and you can be nostalgic, I suggest you hold on to those memories because those days will probably never ever come back again. Here's where we are now in 2021, and it's been this way for the last couple of years actually. Dating now is so impersonal. First of all, before we even get into that, it has always been uh, a task or could be frustrating to find someone suitable to date, ultimately to marry, whatever the case may be. But what's happened is that the internet has basically amplified that frustration and that search process times 10, right? And what I mean by that is like I said before, it's always been frustrating, sometimes disappointing, disheartening, and sometimes emotionally draining, right? But now, because you have access to all these people, and I mean in a fast-paced, quick time, if you will, people have access to you from all over the world, not just all over the United States. And I mean, at the click of a button, or an instant message, or direct message, or a message, right? Someone's in your inbox, just like that, right? So, it gives this false sense of, well, gosh, we have all these choices, right? But that's kind of like a false narrative because, yes, all these people have access to you. We have access to all these people, but you're dealing with all these different personalities as well. It kind of skews the process when you have so access to so many people and so many people have access to you, right? Everyone's got something to say. Everyone has a line or story. right? And so, it just kind of skews the process. And in the meantime, it gives people a false sense of, well, if this doesn't work, someone else will be coming right along. And that's a dangerous mindset. That's not a healthy or productive mindset to even have, trying to find someone suitable to date and ultimately, to marry, but that's where we are. And because these usernames are a lot of times there's no human element attached. A lot of people, whether they know it or not, they don't attach a human element to these usernames and these direct messages and these instant messages. And so it's a lot easier to dismiss or disrespect someone who you don't even deem as real or human, right? It's so quick for you to come out of your face, to come out of your mouth and disrespect someone or get smart or whatever the case may be. You don't really view them as a real person anyway. Because I guarantee you, if you meet someone in the real world, it's not like that at all. But when people get online, they tend to transform either into the person that they really would like to be, or to the person um, who they would try to promote that they are, but they're not really like that or whatever. They get to be who they want to be basically online. Okay, so that's problematic. Okay, because behind these usernames, behind these profile names, and all, and whatever the case may be, are very real people. Okay, um, if you wouldn't disrespect someone or be rude to someone if they were standing in front of you, why would you do it online? Or why would you do it on a dating site? And I'll tell you why. Because many of you have become basically institutionalized by the dating process, internet dating online, because it's so many people, right? It's like I said. And so what that does is that you meet someone and it's going great. Have great conversations, they're inspiring you, you're inspiring them, and then all of a sudden they say something that you perceive as, a certain way, then just like that you want to dismiss them. That's problematic, right? And that's not even real, because you're on this vicious merry-go-round, this vicious cycle of, like, you keep doing the same thing with different people, and that's why you keep ending up with the same results. Okay, at some point you have to, evaluate yourself. What are you doing? What are you attracting? What's your energy like, right? Like, do you have it all together? First of all, you're not going to get in your upper 40s, early 50s and not have some type of baggage or some type of issue. Okay, everyone does on some level. Okay, so you can be talking to someone for a couple of days, a week, a month, whatever the case may be, and everything is great. And like I said, they say one thing, just like that, you're ready to dismiss them. That in itself is indicative of a flaw in your character and your personality, whether you want to accept it or not. And that's why the end result is the same, because you're doing the same thing with different people, with different men, with different women, right? And so you have to take a hard reflection at yourself, man. I mean, you know, really, it's just because the process is already skewed. Then you factor in this whole pandemic thing. Meeting someone has become a lot more difficult, believe it or not, than it's ever been, right? Because I mean, now everyone's walking around with masks. For the most part, people are still walking around with masks. And I don't know about you, but I mean, it just feels creepy trying to talk to someone in a mask. I mean, I couldn't see myself doing it, because it just seems creepy, right? Like, who wants to talk to someone in a mask? You can't even see what they look like, right? Well, you might as well take your chances online then, right? I mean, so everything is so impersonal now. Everything is so impersonal, and people still want instant gratification. And when they don't get that instant gratification, they're ready to dismiss the person, dismiss someone, and then move on to something else and take that same baggage, that same attitude, that same approach to a new person. So why they would expect a different result is beyond me, because I mean, you all know the adage, you know doing the same thing, expecting a different result, is called insanity. I believe Einstein said that, famous quote by him. And I tend to agree. If you want a different result, you have to make a different decision, right? It's as simple as that. So, you meet someone nice. First of all, you're not perfect, okay? Why are you sitting here trying to, scrutinize everyone or micromanage everyone's personality and how they are or how they sound or what, you're not perfect. Okay? Let's start there. Okay? You're no one on this earth is above reproach. No one on this earth is perfect. Okay? Only one man walked this earth that was perfect in every way. And we all know who that was and is, right? So, stop being so quick to judge someone based on a perception or based on, something that, what are some of your flaws? What are some of your shortcomings? Right? Because you have to look at that before you try to judge someone else or look at someone else's flaws and shortcomings or whatever. You're not perfect. And so, you constantly, being on this merry-go-round of meeting people after people, whatever. It's like it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until you stop it, and you have to reflect on yourself first and foremost, and understand you're not perfect. So you can't be looking for someone perfect. You can't be looking for something that you're not, right? It's just it defies common sense and it defies logic. Okay, I tell people all the time, if you get a list of about 10 things, you meet someone, of course, the deal breakers aside, and you can check off about 7 things on that list of 10, that's about as perfect, quote unquote, as you're going to get. Okay, because no relationship is perfect. I don't care how long a couple has been together, where everyone has their little ups, their downs, their little trials and tribulations, or whatever the case may be. And hopefully, and by God's grace, you get through it together, and it's not anything major like infidelity or something like that, because a lot of people can't get past that. I'm one of them. So, a little kind of semi personality clash here and there, whatever. Okay, cool. It's a part of life, right? I'm male. I want to date a female, right? We've had different experiences, so we're going to have different opinions about certain things based on our experiences. That's a given, right? And many of you're judging someone based on how they feel. And I do understand, and I will say that ideologically you have to line up for the most part. All right, because the Bible says, "Be not unequally yoked," and so you have to line up ideologically for the most part. I get that, and I will concede that. However, if we don't agree on some things, whatever, that's fine, right? Don't judge someone because they think differently than you, or because you feel so passionately about something, and the person you met does not. I mean, they're not judging you. And if they're not judging you, then who are you to judge them? Like you want things from people you're not willing to give yourself, and that's a recipe for disaster. That's not even realistic. Like, how can you want and expect something from someone that you're not giving or that you're not willing to give? Like, think about that for a second. How unfair the thought is, and how unfair it is for people to try to apply that in their life, trying to meet someone suitable, quote unquote, for themselves. I always say you cannot re-raise a grown person. That's true. You are who you are, especially if you're in your 40s, 50s. You are who you are. I get that, right? The goal is to try to meet someone who's a lot like you, or who understands you, and vice versa. And the little nuances here and there, you work that out. You work through that. You don't use that to dismiss them or to cut them off. And then people like that, particularly, women, they have the nerve to say, well, question God. Well, why hasn't God done this? And why hasn't God done that? It's not God, it's you. God continuously tries to bless us. And what do? We basically spit in his face because we don't receive it because of our flesh. Right? We get in our flesh and we try to let our free will overtake God's will. And that's why a lot of us are in the positions we're in, constantly going over people, meeting people, dismissing them, if they won't line up and kowtow to what you want them to be or what you want them to do, whatever the case may be. You're not God. That's a God complex, but you're not God, and you have to reflect that. I'm not into telling anyone what and how to perform or how to behave, whatever the case may be. But as an adult, you should not be afraid to look at the reflection in the mirror and like, really, am I a part of the problem? Am I contributing to this continuous cycle? Realistically, you don't have to ask anyone. Do it to yourself. Self-reflect, right? And be honest with yourself, right? And so, with that said, so let's segue into the meat of what this podcast, this episode, I'm sorry, is about. Everything you need to know about online dating, since it's a given that the days are long gone of how you met someone back in the day, and even how you dated and everything like that. We can't even deal with that anymore. Those days are pretty much gone forever. So here's where we are, right? Person goes to work, they go, they come home. If you're already a person like me who doesn't get out anyway, who's not very social or sociable like that, you have to have a method with which to meet someone, right? And then like, again, you factor in this whole pandemic thing, and so a lot of people just, for whatever reason, they don't want to go out socially. So now you're looking at, so how do you meet someone? Okay, cue online dating, cue dating sites and dating apps. Dating sites and dating apps is a multi-billion-dollar a year business. Say that one more time. A multi-billion-dollar a year business. Companies are getting uber rich of people being lonely, of people trying to find someone or finding a suitable mate, finding someone suitable to marry. Okay. The internet, meeting someone on the internet, it is no different than meeting someone in your church. The stigma is there. The stigma of meeting someone on the internet is different because, again, when you can't meet the person or you can't see the person, and be honest with you, that shouldn't even be anymore because there's way too many video apps and video methods to see someone now. That whole catfish thing should be a thing of the past because there's no reason that you can't see someone. And if someone, for whatever reason, is unwilling to meet you on video to see them, then you need to just cut that off. And that's where you're you're definitely you should think about just removing yourself from that situation because clearly there's some deception there if they don't want to meet you on video or whatever. All right, that's understandable. But when you can't put a human element or human, to a person or to a username or whatever, it's like it changes your perception. It does. It changes your approach, right? When you meet someone on the let's just say you met them at Walmart or something. When you meet a person out somewhere socially or at an event or something, you see the whole person. Okay, you instantly know if you're attracted to someone. Okay, we all know that physical attraction is a real thing. I don't care how many women and some men try to downplay or try to make an excuse saying that, oh, well, I don't want to be objectified by men. No, it's not about objectification. It's about you being honest with who you are and what you look like. Because when you meet someone out at a social event or you meet them, you see the whole person. Online dating sites is the only place where you see women and men that have pictures of half themselves on their profile talking about they're trying to meet someone, which is ridiculous to me. Pictures of them from the neck up or from the waist up. It's like, what are you hiding? What are you, what's going on? Because if you met someone outside the internet, you don't meet half of a person. Okay, you see the whole person. Physical attraction is real. Okay, it's not about being objectified, right? But let's get away from that downplaying, being physically attracted. A man is not, most men, I'm gonna speak for myself, I'm not interested in your body parts, okay? But I want you to be honest, though. I want you to be honest with who you are and what you look like. Like, hey, this is me, hate it or love it, this is me. The problem is a lot of men and women, they have these insecurities about themselves for whatever reason. Okay, listen, I get it. Everyone hates to be rejected. Okay, that's a terrible feeling. I get it. We all dislike some things about ourselves, or some things we like to, to be different, or whatever the case may be. I don't care if it's, you're a little overweight, or maybe you're not really shaped the best, or whatever the case may be. You might be a little insecure about that, and I understand that. However, dating sites or dating apps is not the place if you have insecurities about yourself to try to meet someone, because it's unfair to project half of you or take these creative type pictures and poses where it doesn't show what you really look like. That's deceptive, right? It's like, listen, embrace who you are, embrace what you look like, and say, and not be afraid to say, hey, this is me, this is all of me, right? If you like it, great. We can talk, see where it goes. If not, that's cool too. Nothing, nothing lost, nothing gained. More power to you, right? But you have to be honest, people. There should be no reason why you don't have at least one full body picture of what you look like in full, right? Past your thighs, because I don't care how quote unquote cute you are or whatever the case may be. Physical attraction is more than cuteness, man. Let's be real. Let's stop it, man. Let's knock it off. Be honest with ourselves. Okay? When you meet someone outside of the internet, you know immediately if you're physically attracted to them, right? So why shouldn't a dating site be the same thing? A person should be able to look at your pictures and instantly know if you're someone they would like to get to know, if they consider you quote unquote physically attractive. And you can't do that from a bunch of pictures of people just from the neck up. That's just ridiculous, right? And so we need to get away from that, right? And then stop making these excuses, you know, talking about, oh, I don't want men to judge me for my body. It's not about judging you from your body. It's about you being honest with who you are and what you look like. So a man or a woman can know instantly if they're attracted to you. Bottom line. Now, obviously, unless you're bringing emphasis to a body part of yours or whatever, then you're objectifying yourself. So that wouldn't even apply. But stop using that lame excuse about not wanting to be judged or objectified by men, not having no full body pictures of yourself, because full body pictures represents physical attraction. Just like you would meet them outside the internet, they meet all of you. They should be able to see all of you on the internet. Same concept, right? But again, the internet and dating sites have made people just instantly suspicious, right? And so they tend to lose sight of the human element, right? Just because we're on the internet, or that doesn't give you a right to be invasive, and or ask me invasive questions that are really none of your business, right? That doesn't give you the right to do that. But some people feel that it does, and it doesn't, right? And so because so many people, they get on the internet and these dating sites and they play these games, and they lie, and they deceive and this and that. And so I get it. It's based on some of your experiences to why your approach is the way it is. But you can't treat each and everyone you come in contact with the same way, because everyone you come in contact with is not the same as the last person you dealt with, and that's unfair, right? So we can't, I'm sorry, we can't dismiss or downplay the importance of physical attraction. Okay? I'm not saying post pictures of your butt or your breast, or anything like that. I mean, because bottom line, as a female, if you're built a certain way, no matter what you wear, it'll be able to kind of show subtly or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with subtle sexiness, I call it. That's okay. Embrace that. You're a woman. You're feminine. There's nothing wrong with subtle sexiness. So if you dress nice and dress, respectfully and everything like that, not bringing attention to your butt or your breast, whatever the case may be. Hey, embrace it. Embrace who you are and embrace what you look like, right? And so that's number one. Um, another don't is this whole, like I said, everything is impersonal now. No one wants to talk on the phone. Well, listen, how do you expect to get to know someone texting and typing back and forth? I mean, it's redundant. Number one is what it is, and two, people forget how to communicate. It's like you say, hey, okay, hello, hello, how are you, or something like that, and then they go fine and say nothing else. Like, okay, you don't talk like that to people and outside the internet. What I mean by that is that when you meet someone out somewhere, you say, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm fine." And it's like you respond in an engaging way. It's like people forget, or just don't see the value in engaging conversation. If a man or a woman reaches out to you, that's the key to respond in an engaging way, not these one line, one word responses, like you don't have social skills, like you've forgotten how to communicate or have an engaging communication with someone. I mean, no one wants to feel like they're pulling teeth. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. Great. What are you doing today? Nothing much. Like, I mean, who want that? That is just so lame. Who's going to be inspired by that? Right? So it's like, we can't forget how to have engaging communication, right? That's another thing, right? Because I'm gonna tell you straight up, I've interviewed people, I've dealt with people, and I know for a fact there are a bunch of horror stories out there about people deceiving others on the internet or whatever, right? I'm telling you, I could do easily a couple hours just on the things that I've been told and the things that I myself have experienced coming across people in some way, women on the internet, right? And so, be honest, man. Be honest, and if you have insecurities, work that out before you call yourself joining a dating site trying to meet someone, because you're not. First of all, if you're not getting a lot of hits and all you have is pictures of you from the neck up, guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, and women too, they're not going with that because it's too much deception that's went on. That show Catfish is a very real and popular show. People are aware of that, and they are aware that people get on the internet and on these dating sites and mislead people, posting up old pictures from 20, 30 years ago. I see women got pictures up when they had the climax hairstyles. Like, stop it. Like, I know those pictures are old. Why would you want to personify, what you looked like then? That's not who you are now. So why would you even put those type of pictures up, unless you were trying to deceive someone, basically? And so you have so much of the deception going on, and so people are just tired. People are weary, right? But at the same time, you can't use that as an excuse to be what's the word I'm looking for, doubtful of everyone you come across, because now you're doing yourself a disservice, because God could have sent someone to you, but basically because of your flesh and your experiences exclusively, you send the person back, basically. So it's not God. Again, it's you. It's us. It's so we have to take full responsibility for that, right? And so, we have to use the online dating thing. It's a blessing and a curse. Let's be real. But if you have issues within yourself, then work that out first, right? Whatever you have to do, because I promise you, there's someone for everyone. There's almost no better feeling than to be totally loved and accepted for who you are, not what you can be or not what someone wants you to be, but who you are today. Okay, you're not going to get to the 50 club and not have had some issues, or not dealing with, rather it's health, physical, mental health, depression, whatever. You're not going to get to this level in life and not have some issues or whatever. The key is, everyone has baggage, right? But you don't want the baggage to a hinder you, and you want someone to help you unpack, as long as it's not as long as your suitcases aren't overfilled. Someone that doesn't mind helping you unpack, and vice versa. That's where we are, because the younger generations, that's a wash, right? You're gonna have to get with someone that understands who and what it is to be you, especially in your age bracket, and the things that we deal with when we get to the 40s and the 50s club. It's just a fact of life. We get older, we gain weight, right? Food is not the problem for a lot of people. And I hate that the narrative is that people are quote unquote overweight because of food, or because they eat too much, or they need to eat less. There are a lot of conditions medically as to why people carry extra weight. And they still don't know why you get older and gain weight naturally. We call that middle age spread, but it happens. You get older, you gain weight. The key is to gain that weight, is when you gain the weight, to do it as graceful as possible, not let it get too far. I guarantee you, food is not the issue with a lot of people. It's just a natural thing of life, of the body. The body, we grow older, we get gray hair, and we gain weight. That's just a fact. So, unless you some fitness guru walking around with a six pack and you're just perfect, get off that trying to, judge everybody by their weight or by what they look like, or they may be a little few extra pounds or whatever. Because I guarantee you, there's men out there that love those few extra pounds, that loves the fact that you're a BBW, you're a voluptuous woman. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I am one of them. Okay, I don't hate on anyone. I keep an open mind to all women, but I prefer voluptuous BBW, thick, curvy women. Period. That's just it. And I don't make no apologies for that, right? I prefer that. Now, is that to say would I talk to someone who wasn't that? No, not at all. I would, but I'm saying I prefer thicker BBW type voluptuous women. That's just my preference, right? But no disrespect to any woman, whether you're thin or you're athletic built or whatever the case may be. Hey, more power to you. I'm not going to judge you any less for that any more than I want to be judged for who and what I am. I'm a quote unquote big and tall brother. Okay, I embrace that. I have little health issues I've dealt with here and there, whatever, nothing major, but I'm dealing with it. I carry myself well. I'm a proud man. I dress nice. I smell nice, right? I'm intelligent, all these different things. So I'm not wasting energy and brain cells on people or women not accepting me or liking me for whatever reason, because I know I have a lot to offer as a man. If you want to dismiss me because I'm big and tall or because I'm this or because I'm that, well, guess what? I dismiss you. How about that? Right? So, let's not even go there, because I guarantee you, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you have. You are not perfect. There's something about you that people find rejectionable as well. So until or unless you're that perfect person, stop being so judgmental of others and stop being so quick to dismiss other people based on silly stuff. Right? I get the things that are important, the things that matter, right? You want to line up in the things that matter most. You want to have some of the same ideological things, in common, right? And it all goes with being equally yoked. I get that. That's just the same as how sexual satisfaction is an important thing. Some people try to downplay that. Listen, you can't downplay that. There's nothing shallow about wanting to be satisfied sexually by your mate. There's nothing shallow about that. Men, we know what we enjoying ourselves, because what do? We orgasm, we have we climax, and so we know we're good. Well, guess what? Women, a lot of women, they don't climax as easy or orgasm as easy as men do. So it takes them a little longer. You have to explore or talk to them to see, what gets them off or what gets them going, right? So if you continuously not satisfy that one in the bedroom, and she's continuously not satisfied, well, guess what? She's going to start treating you differently, acting differently, because she's not satisfied. She's unfulfilled. And so what that's going to lead to basically is a ultimate disconnect in your relationship, because you're not satisfying her in the bedroom. So there's no way to downplay sexual satisfaction. Okay, women want to be satisfied in the bedroom just as much as men. So maybe there should be a conversation before you even get to that point. What do you like? What are your dislikes? Right? Like, what are you open to? What are you not open to? Have these discussions before you even get to that point. So that way, now it's a matter of performance. Right. And if you get to that point, okay, can this man or can this woman, satisfy me in this way or whatever? Do we line up there? Because that could ultimately, it could be a deal breaker. Some people may say, well, that's a little shallow, whatever. Well, I don't agree with that, because everyone wants to be fulfilled, everyone wants to be satisfied, and it's not shallow for a woman to want to be satisfied by a man. It's no more or less than it's shallow for a man to want to be satisfied by a woman, right? There are men who like oral sex. There are some women out there who may not be okay with giving a man oral sex. And if that's the case, have that conversation, and vice versa, right? Oral sex might even be an issue to either one of you. But either way, no, don't be afraid to address that. Have that conversation as adults before you get to that point, so then no one's disappointed, right? There's no expectations of anything, right? Because you've already talked about it. You know what to expect, what not to expect, whatever the case may be. You may even decide you may not even want to go there after you've had the conversation with the person on your likes and your dislikes sexually and things like that. So, and that's fine too. It costs absolutely nothing, to keep it moving, right? But online dating, we have to change our mindset, right? It's good and it's not so good. Having access and people having so many people having access to you is giving a lot of women and men a false sense of security in a sense. What I mean by that is that it's like you're so quick to dismiss someone, no matter how good they may be or how great they have all these qualifications, this and that. And they say one thing that you have, it's almost like you're waiting for that one thing. Some women and men have been on these dating sites for years. I mean, for years. And believe it or not, that's why I get the term institutionalized, dating institutionalized from, because it's like they're stuck in this cycle. Now it becomes, it's not even about finding someone. It's the thrill of trying to find someone now. They're not even really trying to find anyone at this point. Because like I said, they meet good people and and just like that, one thing gets said or whatever, and they're quick to dismiss them. That's problematic, man. That is really problematic. And so, it's all about approach, right? And that's where we are now with these dating sites. But people, I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I'm not gonna, beat a dead horse or whatever case may be. But if you're trying to meet someone online, first and foremost, be honest with who you are and what you look like, and stop being disrespectful, asking people invasive disrespectful questions. I had a female ask me, first of all, both my sons are grown young men. I literally had a female ask me, what's my son's whole name? Like, chick, that's none of your freaking business what my son, who's a grown man, what his full name is. Like, what are you fishing for? See, stuff like that, that's invasive and it's disrespectful because, you know, my son is a grown man. I'm talking to you. What does my son's full name have to do with anything? And why are you even asking me that? Like stuff like that. Like I don't care what the format, nothing gives you the right to be invasive of someone's privacy and disrespectful of that privacy. It's one thing, asking questions or talking to get to know. When you start asking invasive private questions that have nothing to do with anything or whatever, you're crossing the line. And I see that that's a trend too, right? Asking invasive questions that's none of your business, especially as a Capricorn. Listen, my life is an open book pretty much. I'm a public figure, whatever the case may be. I'm DOD till I die. Okay, but there's certain things you're not going to come at me with. You're not going to ask me invasive personal questions, right? Like, I'm torn between the whole vaccination thing, right? People actually asking that. Why? Because, well, that's the narrative, right? I mean, you got people talking about vaccinations now, right? Well, ordinarily I would say a person's health or their health status is something personal, or whatever the case may be. But I understand why that would be a question. What because basically the narrative is that this whole COVID thing, right? It's just like I said, we're living in some precarious times, man. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand, why that question would come up or whatever, because people are dying from that, from what was so-called dying. I mean, I don't know what the underlying, things of this is what the media is saying, right? But so I understand that or why it would come up. But ordinarily, I mean, HIPAA laws were put in place for a reason, right? But we were living in a time where people can just invade your privacy like it's nothing, and think it's okay and it's cool. And if you somehow don't want to comply with someone invading that, then you're looked at as a certain way and you're dismissed. That's where we are. That's the reality of where we are right now in the world. And I mean, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. I get it, right? I get it. You know, you have a right to know. And here's the thing, all for all intents and purposes, they're pushing this narrative about, being vaccinated, fully vaccinated. Well, there's people that are fully vaccinated that are still getting the doggone thing. There are people that are fully vaccinated that are still dying of it. So then the narrative changed. Well, if you get fully vaccinated, it won't be as bad. It's like seriously, it's like, man, I'm not even gonna get into that. But from the standpoint of meeting someone new and someone asks you what your vaccination status is or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna say you shouldn't. I'm not in the habit of telling people what they should and shouldn't do. But if they ask you, are you fully vaccinated? Just understand that that's where we are now. Okay, the reality is a lot of people still putting all their faith in this whole vaccination thing, even though people are still getting it, being fully vaccinated. But for whatever it's worth, it's a topic of discussion in a sense, right? So just kind of, I'll just say that, like I said, I'm not in the habit of telling people what they should and shouldn't do. But if it comes up, just try to be open-minded about it and understand why it's coming up. Because I mean, for the most part, man, especially as Americans, man, we're sheep led. And I don't say, and I say we collectively, not me personally, because I'm a free thinker. I think for myself. But when I say we, I mean collectively. Like we go with whatever the media tells us, or however they lead us, they feed us or whatever the case may be, and we go with that. I'm not really into that. I'm a free thinker. I'm a researcher. I research things myself. Like literally, I go beneath the surface to find stuff. So I'm not sheep led, not even close. As a matter of fact, if I meet someone that's sheep led like that, it's a turn off for me. But to each their own. To each their own, man. I don't look to the news to guide me. First of all, I look ultimately to God. I'm gonna just say that, and then I do what I have to do to protect myself, whatever. So that's just where we are. Be honest. If you have issues, if you have insecurities about yourself, about your weight, about what you look like, then don't make a profile on a dating site to try to meet someone, because it's not fair to promote half of you when outside the internet, if someone met you, they would see all of you, and the internet should be no different, because physical attraction is real, and you don't know if you're physically attracted to someone by just showing them from the neck up or whatever. And that's just being real. There's nothing shallow about that. Okay, you can't downplay physical attraction anymore, or unless you can downplay being sexually compatible, or whatever the case may be. Compatibility involves several things, and that's what the Bible means when it says, "Be not unequally yoked." It's talking about being connected with one another, being aligned, having the likenesses. Can two walk together except they agree? There we go, right? No, they can't. So we have to have ways of life. We have to be attracted to one another. Number one, law of attraction is a universal law. And if you're not attracted to what you want, then your vibration is different. Your energy is different. You need to work on that. Work on you. Work on your energy. Work on you. Right. That's that. If I want to leave you with anything, I want to say that if you have anything about yourself that you don't like, or that you would like to change, or that you feel is not acceptable, or whatever, it's okay to work on you first before you put yourself out there trying to find someone, because it's not fair for you to be deceptive in your approach, and in presenting who you are. You're presenting this certain image, but you're not really that. And so if the person meets you and they're not that, then now you're shocked as to why they're not attracted to you. Well, because you didn't present yourself correctly. You didn't present yourself, truthfully. So, yeah, of course, meeting you, they're gonna be like, well, okay, well, that's not what I look. You didn't look like this, when you on your pictures or whatever. Well, yeah, because they deceptively presented themselves, taking pictures in certain angles and this and that to give off a perception of 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 their physical, but not the actual of what they look like and what they're shaped like, or whatever the case may be. So when you meet them, then yeah, the person is disappointed, because it's like, wow, you don't that this is not what I thought you were. Or this is not what you look like. So the whole point is just be honest. My grandfather always said, put all your cards on the table and let the chips fall where they may. Don't be disrespectful of people. You can have a conversation as an adult, but don't be disrespectful and ask invasive, disrespectful questions to someone that's none of your freaking business. Don't ask them questions, that ordinarily by society would be improper to ask, but you feel like, oh, because it's the internet, or because this pandemic or whatever, you can just invade and ask someone invasive, disrespectful questions. No, you can't. I know you can't with me, and I'm not going to allow that. Like, I'm not going to let anyone disrespect me or be, unnecessarily invasive, to me, right? And and communication, man. Don't forget how to communicate, right? Like that is so important. here I am having a conversation with a woman the other day, and it was a deep conversation. I was saying something. It was a really deep, kind of deep conversation, and she thought it was okay to cut me off in the middle of in the middle of this. Literally, I was making this point, and she thought it was okay to cut me off. And then I responded because I was irritated. I was agitated that she found it, necessary to cut me off. And then to cut me off and ask me something that had nothing to do with what we were talking about. I mean, so yeah, I was irritated. I was agitated. But so I responded. I didn't snap at her. I didn't curse. I didn't, go off on her. But clearly I was agitated and she sensed the agitation in my voice. Well, she didn't like that. And because she didn't like the fact, not forgetting the fact that she cut me off and she disrespected me, forget that. She didn't like the agitation in my voice when I said, okay, since you cut me off, here you go. Here's the answer to your question. Right? She didn't like that. Well, I had every right to respond that way because I mean she didn't even want to deal with the fact that I responded that way because she disrespectfully cut me off. See, that's the sign of a true narcissist right there. They don't concentrate on the behavior that they did to make you respond a certain way. They concentrate on your response, not what they did. And so she did me a favor. I never talked to her again. So, she did me a favor. That's fine. I know what that looks and feels like. And I know what a narcissist is. And she's definitely that. So kudos to her, props to her. But I'm moving on. But on that note, everyone, I want everyone to be safe. Be mindful, be respectful, and like I said, embrace who you are. Okay, there's somebody out there for everyone. I don't care what you look like or whatever. And if you're not perfect, stop trying to be judgmental of others. You know what I'm saying? If you're not perfect, if you're not this perfect kind of person, whatever, shut your mouth. Stop judging people. All right. Everyone deserves to have someone. Everyone deserves to be happy. No one wants to be alone. And people who say that they're okay with being alone, that's their excuse. And because they want to make themselves feel better about not being able to find someone for them. No one wants to be alone. That's why God made Eve, because he didn't want man to be alone. We were not meant to be alone. Okay, but let's be honest and let's be respectful and mindful of people, of human beings. They're very real humans behind these usernames in these profile dating sites and stuff like that. Even on social media with the Instagram and Facebook, these are very real people with very real feelings and very real emotions. So let's be more mindful and respectful of people's feelings and their emotions as you want them to be of yours. All right. And on that note, this is Dr. Manifest signing off. And until next time, you all take care and be safe.